At the height of his success, Dan Blocker had everything most actors spend a lifetime chasing: stability, respect, and a role that felt permanent. That is what made the ending so jarring. There was no warning, no sense that tragedy was ahead. Life seemed ready to return to normal. It never did. What followed was sudden, devastating, and left behind a silence that only grew louder with time. Dan's wife, Dolphia Blocker, could have become the public face of grief. Instead, she chose something far rarer. She disappeared. Her refusal to participate in the public narrative turned their final chapter into one of Hollywood's quietest tragedies. Dan Blocker was born already larger than life. On September 10, 1928, in DeKalb, Texas, he weighed over 14 pounds, still the largest baby ever recorded in Bowie County. His family later moved to O'Donnell, a small farming town where his father opened a grocery store after losing everything during the Great Depression. Dan helped however he could, carrying groceries and working behind the counter. His size was noticeable even then, and his father often joked that Dan broke more things than he fixed. Growing up, Dan became known for his strength. On Saturday nights, part of Main Street would be roped off, and Dan would wrestle anyone brave enough to challenge him. He never lost. By his teens, he weighed nearly 300 pounds. At 13, he joined the Texas Military Institute and played football, earning a scholarship to Sul Ross State University. His plan was to study English and play football, but fate had other ideas. The drama department needed someone strong enough to move heavy props for a production of Arsenic and Old Lace. Dan took the job, then stepped into a small role. That moment changed his life. He switched his major to theater and never looked back. His path was interrupted in 1950 when he was drafted into the U.S. Army during the Korean War. Dan served with the 45th Infantry Division and rose to the rank of sergeant. During intense combat, he held his position under heavy fire for hours, protecting his unit. He was wounded, hospitalized, and later credited with saving lives. He returned home in 1952, a decorated veteran, forever changed by war. That same year, he married Dolphia Parker. With a growing family, Dan earned a master's degree in dramatic arts and worked as a school teacher in Texas and New Mexico. Acting remained a passion, but stability came first. In the mid-1950s, he began auditioning for television roles. Westerns were everywhere, and his size made him a natural fit. He appeared on Gunsmoke, The Rifleman, Maverick, and even a Three Stooges short. In 1959, everything changed when he was cast as Hoss Cartwright on Bonanza. The show was not an instant hit. It nearly got canceled after its first season. But when NBC moved it to Sunday nights, the ratings exploded. Bonanza became one of the most successful shows in television history, and Hoss became its emotional center. On screen, Hoss was gentle, awkward, and endlessly kind. Off-screen, Dan Blocker was intelligent, educated, deeply religious, and politically progressive. He held a master's degree, hated guns because of his war experience, and believed deeply in compassion. Though he played a cowboy, he rejected violence in real life and owned no firearms. Despite fame, Dan hated celebrity life. He and Dolphia lived quietly in a modest home and avoided Hollywood parties. To escape constant attention, the family eventually moved to Lugano, Switzerland. There, Dan could walk the streets anonymously, raise his children in peace, and simply be himself. In 1972, Dan returned to the U.S. to begin the final season of Bonanza. He felt weak and exhausted. Doctors recommended routine gallbladder surgery. The operation appeared successful, and Dan believed he was recovering. Hours later, he collapsed. He died from a pulmonary embolism. Dan Blocker was 43 years old. The loss shattered his family, his castmates, and millions of fans. After his death, Dolphia Blocker withdrew completely from public life. She never gave interviews, never sought attention, and never remarried. She focused on protecting her children and preserving Dan's memory with dignity. She lived quietly until her own passing years later. Dan Blocker left behind more than a television legacy. He left behind a reminder that strength and kindness can exist together, and that a gentle man can leave the deepest mark of all. This has been Hollywood Unseen, where the stories behind the fame finally come into focus. If you value respectful storytelling and untold Hollywood history, subscribe, like the video, and stay with us for more stories you won't hear anywhere else.